All right, what is up, YouTube?
YouTube.
Welcome to the party, YouTube. Got a few minutes before we hit the record button, so welcome to the pre-game show. They would say. I hope you got a chance to watch last week's episode with Adam Kimmel. That definitely created a shitstorm. But tonight we're waiting on. We're gonna have a couple guests on here tonight, including Bree.
Hey.
We will also be bringing on Jeff Fent here shortly. And Bree is good for, I don't know Carrie's last name. We'll just say Carrie.
Say Gary.
Carrie's coming.
Carrie.
So Carrie will be on around 8:30. Jeff will be on here shortly. Sean and I will be hitting the record button as we normally would do on every podcast. So if you're new and you're hopping on here, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we always do something shit we shouldn't do. Pretty much.
We should put the tagline of our podcast. The Old World Paranormal Podcast. Shit we shouldn't do.
Yeah. That's spot on. That is spot on.
Avoiding cancellations since 2022.
Right.
Why am I not seeing the live?
Says we're live.
Oh, there it is. What'd you title it? No, Dan. That's great. No, Dan. That's what I'm going to put for the title when I upload it. No, Dan.
We're going to drop some bombs and some truths today. Sean, you ready to hit record? I'm going to get going. I'm going to yip yap for a little bit. You can do your intro, and then we'll wait for the amazing Jeff Fent to hop on here, and then the lovely Carrie. Bree is already in the office.
Her office.
You shut your mouth.
We've established that already.
Our office.
Oh, now it's our office.
Sharing is caring when it comes to the office.
All right, Sean. It's 8:00 on the dot. Let's hit record and let's get going. You ready?
Okay. Welcome back to the Old World Paranormal Podcast, where we haven't gotten canceled yet, but that could happen.
We're working hard.
At any time. Tonight, episode 113. Guess what? No, Dan. But that's okay. Let things speak for themselves as it was, because as we always do, Nick and I always have backup plans, and tonight is a backup plan like no other, because we're going to be hitting it pretty hard tonight. We've got some very special people on the show. We've got Bree, of course, who is just out of frame because Nick doesn't want to give up the spotlight. And joining us right now, I believe, is the incredible Mr. Jeff Fent. He's getting on here right now.
Logging on.
And we're going to have a couple more people, I think, joining us throughout the evening tonight. There he is. Look at him.
I'm here.
Bright and shiny. We even know what time it is where he's at. He's got the halo right above his head.
I'm at FBI, and Adam helped me.
Okay.
I was just talking about what we got going on tonight. We're coming off of last week's episode with Adam Kimmel that really started some fires, lit some things up, and the positive part of that is it's bringing some attention to a very important topic that we're going to talk about tonight. Yep. We even have a little bit of a surprise for you guys, something that we are in the process of kind of working on. Jeff, I don't know if you're aware of it yet, if Nick's talked to you. Okay. I know you told me to contact him, but I never did.
You got scared. Jeff intimidated you.
I never heard from him.
Jeff, look at the man. I mean, he looks like he just punched you right in the face. But yeah, so we're gonna have some great discussion tonight, and we're going to continue to do what we do. We don't care what, people say negatively about us. We know we're doing the right things, and we're going to continue to do so. So that
Right.
being said, Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
Welcome
Again.
to the shit show.
Thanks.
And
So-
everybody on YouTube, we've got 24 people in the room.
I want
That's
to
okay.
address a couple things that have happened since last Monday. And, we waited and waited and waited for a response, and then finally got a response for the cancellation. So, I mean, obviously, we called Jeff, see if he would come on and talk about, this horrible subject and see what we can do in the community to make it a brighter place. But before we get into that, I want to talk about a couple things that happened this week. As you saw on the Old World Paranormal Society page, we have parted ways with Bob and Denise on the team. Now, it breaks my heart that this happened, but, in light of what we're trying to do, we can't brush things under the rug. I made a statement last week that really started getting this going. And I did that to push the envelope a little bit. And I brought up the story at Center Church with Bree and Carrie and how Rich showed up and this or that. Now we're gonna have Bree. Bree, you can see Bree here. I'm stealing the spotlight, but she'll have it here in about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna bring Carrie on as well, and we're gonna shed light on this. These ladies are gonna talk about this situation, but what really perturbed me was the fact that the camp just kept talking about how Rich doesn't drink or Dan doesn't drink. That is fine. Kudos to them if they don't drink. That's what this is not about. And I pleaded for him to come on, and I said, they were afraid we were going to attack him, and then we were going to secretly bring on Jeff and Adam and the whole crew and just like secretly attack him. Like, that's not the fucking point here. That wasn't the point. That was never the intention. It was about giving light to both sides and see what we can do to get it to solve the situation. Now, the fact is, there's a couple things that doesn't sit well with me, and we're going to get more into that, here in about 15 minutes. But if he wasn't drunk, which kudos to you if you don't drink, but that makes the situation 10 times worse if you are not inebriated and you're in your right mind and you act like this. Like, I heard like stories where, he thought somebody was at the church and he checked the Trello. And so he decided to go to the church to see who was there, make sure they weren't trespass. Like, none of that fucking adds up. How did he know somebody was at the church? For one, that doesn't add up. And for two, why didn't you just put the code in the door and walk in and introduce yourself like, hey, the owner's here. I'm Rich. I didn't think anybody was supposed to be here tonight. I'm just checking in on the building. Talk to the ladies. They explain why they're there. They know he's the owner. Okay, have a good night. Be on your merry fucking way. But instead, that's not exactly how it went. I asked today from Dan himself in a text message. I was pleading for him to come on. I said, well, we really expect an apology for what happened at Center Church. And his text message back was, define we. What? I said, so, okay, apparently not apologizing to women is out of the cards. I don't know. Am I fuming mad about this stuff? Yeah. But I'm not letting my emotions take over to the fact of what we're trying to do here. I've been talking to Jeff since October about these situations, been talking to other people, digging into some other stuff. And, obviously in the past month, I don't know, maybe this is the time. I don't know. But things are now starting to come to light more. Look, we know the one employee was a sexual predator. We had numerous ladies reach out to us this week. Myself and Bree. former staff members and stuff like that, telling us stories. You know, there's no doubt that Tim is who he is. The question was, does it go up the chain of command? That's what I wanted to know. That's what everybody wants to know. There's a weird freaking reason why 90% of the paranormal community do not know who owns Stop. They can't even put a face to the name. They're in the shadows. You talk about a location across the country and you're like, oh yeah, so and so the owner. You know them. You know, it's just weird. Look, I hope the buck stopped at Tim, but my gut's telling me it's not. That's the problem. And they should have came on and be like, look, Nick, look, you know, it'd have been just fine. I don't care if they would have came on for 5 minutes and said, look, Nick, Tim was the problem. We found out all about the shit he was doing. We let him go. Everything is kosher now. None of that shit's happening. Blah, 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 blah. I'd probably be like, okay, what am I going to do? Push the button? I'm not law enforcement. I'm just looking for answers. But they, you know, not coming on tonight in the court of public opinion, this looks guilty. I mean, what do you got? Does that mean not in the court of law, the court of public opinion? Gentlemen, does this make them look worse?
Yes. I'll agree with you. Yeah. They need to come out and plead their innocence on all this. They need to explain things. You can't go through life blocking people and not telling people your side of the story. And when you don't tell your side of the story, that pretty much answers things for you. You must be guilty of something. I mean, what they've been doing all these years, I'm at a boiling point now. I'm so glad that Brad, I was like chilled out. Right. You know, I'm so glad that Brad did that podcast. I didn't like it at all, but you know, now the fire's lit. You know, they are responsible for a lot of women being affected. And those girls that are constantly, you know, protecting him, they're the ones that come on your podcast, like Melissa or Kate. They're accessories to the fact too, because they know what's going on. And then they hide it from the other people that are helping them. And then it's a big surprise to them when these other people that help, when they hear something. It's like, well, I don't believe that because I've never heard anything about that. Well, right. Now it's getting brought out into the light, you know?
I'm going to make a couple comments here. Dan is definitely available tonight because he actually just reacted to one of our posts on the Old World Paranormal podcast page.
Okay, so there's a comment right here. Hold on.
Oh, you're looking at the comments right here.
Sean, hold on. There's a comment right here. Said from Indiana Crossroads, Rich showed up at my all-female investigation drunk last year.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a couple things. Now, having a former staff member or having a staff member on my team and this or that, you know, I talked to him a lot about this situation. He got upset with me a lot about it because he was like, they don't have any proof. It's all accusations, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I understand that, Bob, but these are pretty serious, you know, and which, whatever, that's fine. I mean, his decisions to do what he wants to do, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm taking a stance. This is where I'm going. They go where they go. But a couple stories that I have been told by multiple people that when Tim Murphy was fired, that he was fired for stealing stuff and portraying himself as the owner of these locations, not for the sexual accusations, because apparently the owners didn't know it. But the problem is somebody slipped that at Center Church when he was talking about Tim doing nude photos and sex parties or whatever the fuck it was at Center Church and in the cemetery, and the police were called on because the women asked, Bree and Carrie asked where could and could not go on the property. He said, don't go in the cemetery because they've had problems with blah, 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 former employee doing that stuff, and the cops were called. So looking at the time frame and when Tim was fired and versus that's telling me that they did fucking know. That's the shit I wanted to talk to him about. Why would you let him still be employed there? I'm not coming at you personally. I could care less what you do on a daily basis. My opinion on how you run your business doesn't fucking matter. You know, same with me talking to Adam Kimmel last week. My opinion, what Adam Kimmel does not matter to Adam Kimmel. It shouldn't. Adam's going to do what Adam wants to do. Same with Dan and Rich. But when you break the fucking law and women are feeling uncomfortable, sexual harassed or raped or sexual assault or whatever, that has to stop. And if you know about it, you have to make it stop. If not, you're just as fucking guilty. That's the problem. That's why, look, I love your locations. I've been to them 100 fucking times. I've helped you on investigations, public events, did this or that, did whatever I could to help. But there's a line you just don't cross. And this is this. You know, when Bree and I started dating, I got a phone call from this old guy, this feisty old guy. And he says, Bree's like a daughter to me. You better watch it, young man. I'm gonna come after you. And I said, whoa, dude. But I appreciate that because there should be more people like you, Jeff, in the community that speak up. The only issue is a lot of people know that you are in Adam's camp. You're like best friends with Adam and this or that. Let me finish. And the other side of the people try not to take what Jeff is trying to take on a good platform and push it out and say, wake the fuck up, people. They discredit it because he's already like he's friends with Adam. Like right. Jeff has a personal vendetta versus them because of RCI. Nobody really cares. Look, Dan and Rich own a lot of properties and they're successful. Adam owns a lot of properties and is successful. At the end of the day, who really cares who owns Randolph County? Like, that's not the point. The point is the sexual assault and the harassment and stuff like that. Jeff has been a huge advocate for this for a very long time, and it's taken me about 8 months to hop on the Jeff train, but I'm on it. I know, Jeff, you were like, where's he fucking going with this? Wait a minute. That's where I was just going. Some people, you know, they take sides, they discredit what actually somebody's trying to do. That's what I was getting
Yep. It has nothing, I mean, whether people believe me or not, yeah, it has nothing to do whether I'm in Adam's camp or not. But what started me, I mean, I've known this stuff's been going on all this time. I seen Tim the very first day at RCI when he got out of jail. I mean, he borrowed clothes from Dan. He asked to use my Wi-Fi in my truck. You know, he didn't have anything. He was grateful Dan was going to give him an opportunity there and a place to stay. I didn't know much about him at the time, but I knew he had just gotten out of jail. I mean, you could tell he just got out of jail. And then over a period of time, you just start hearing these things about Tim's being inappropriate, or he's trying to touch this girl, or he's trying to, like, you know, do this, or he's saying, you know, inappropriate things to people. And over a span of time, you just sort of like, why isn't Dan stopping this stuff? Why is Dan allowing it? I mean, I even heard one group said that he told them that, and you are correct, he was pretending to be the owner. He told them that he was the owner. He was staying, I guess, in one of the units upstairs at the time. Right. He said, I'll be up there, and if I tell you to do something tonight, you're going to do it. And that's how he left things with him. He scared the crap out of him. So why Dan allowed this to go on all this time is beyond me. And then when I hear about one of my friends, and again, she does not know that I know, or she knows and she's just not coming forward to me. She just disappeared for like 6 months. And she was assaulted over it on, I believe it was in the side, I don't know, the driveway there outside the Stone Mansion, waiting on another person to get there for an event that they were going to have that night. I wondered what happened to her. I mean, she's the sweetest lady in the world. Why should this stuff even happen? It should not be happening. Dan should have shut it down a long time ago. And it has nothing to do with any kind of conflict between Adam and him or whatever. It's stuff that's not right. It needs to be stopped. And you know, and you know, I get so
Take a deep
fired
breath,
up
Jeff.
about
Take
it.
a deep
I can't
breath.
What's that?
I said, take a deep breath.
But it all needs to stop. It'll never probably truly stop. But if people are put on notice, just like this, you know, video them, video them acting inappropriately, blast it out there. Just let people see for themselves. You don't have to prove anything. Show that video or go live or just hit memo on your phone and audio tape. That's all you got to do. And if people start to think, wow, I might be getting videoed, I better watch my shit. They're not going to take that chance. It's like we're putting them on notice. And, you know, it just, this stuff all needs to be discussed. The word needs to get out there. And there needs to be a platform for these girls to come. I mean, even if it's anonymous, they need to be able to have a place that they can go tell people what has happened to them, because for whatever reason, they don't want to go to the police. They don't want this. They don't want that. They don't want to be shamed for it. They shouldn't be shamed. This stuff should not be happening. I
100%.
talked to a lady the other day. He's like, it's hard for us to find a guy to go with us anywhere. We're an all girl group. I mean, who do you trust? She says, in my area, it's hard to find a guy that we can take with us that is sort of like our protector, sort of like will watch out for us. I mean, that's another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. There needs to almost be like, if a group contacts you in this platform and says, hey, we're going to go to this location. Do you know of any, like a dependable guy that we can give a shout to that can go with us? Because we're just, it's a new place for us. We don't know it. Nobody really knows anything about it. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
There's all these things that could be done with a platform to make things better out there. And then I want to get into Nick. I want to get into this Paracon thing too tonight.
Okay.
Sometime, I know you've got your schedule of things here that you want to work.
No. We'll 100% we'll get you all of it. I promise you. And again, at the end of the day, this, yes, this has come to light. So this situation with these properties is what we're talking about. But you got to understand the grand scheme of this. We're not just talking about these properties. I'm talking about holding everybody accountable, every location owner, every person on a paranormal team, every person that volunteers. That's what we're talking about. Accountability. And Jeff is 100% correct. We're going to build a platform and we're going to, whatever cost it is, we'll figure it out. We are going to do background checks on people, vet people out. We're going to dig deep and we're going to find people around the country to volunteer to help these groups of women that want to, if they want it. I mean, we can't push this on them, obviously, but I highly suggest it, that we'll find you somebody that can at least like do security for you or just hang out and make sure you're safe. That's the kind of platform that we're going to try to build here. Now, before we get any further, and 100%, Jeff, I want to get into the convention stuff, and we're going to talk a lot bit more about this stuff. But I want to turn the mic over to Bree a little bit. I brought this up last week. It caused a shitstorm. Obviously, it cost me a couple team members, this or that, and that's fine. I said last week, the very end of the podcast, and this goes for Old World Paranormal Society as a team in general. If this costs us everything that we've done, I am 100% okay with it because we are going to fight the good fight and we're going to make it right. Because this is retarded. I'm tired of paradrama. I'm tired of women getting fucking assaulted and raped and this or that. I'm tired of fucking people attacking each other. Like this, it's gotta freaking stop. This is it's retarded. It's retarded. And I probably just got us canceled for saying that word.
3
All right,
times.
babe.
And one important thing to know too is that
Yeah,
we're talking about this stuff that's going on, which is local to us in retrospect. But this is a nationwide, a global issue. So that's something else that we have to also take into account as well. So, but
All right,
put on your seatbelts, grab your popcorn because Bree's about to take the helm here. So here we go.
Be afraid. Be very afraid. So let's look at it this way. First and foremost, let's take paranormal out of it. I'm a sexual abuse survivor. My first instance happened between the age of 5 to 6, happened again as a teenager, and again as an adult in a workplace. While I was an assistant manager. So it doesn't matter where you're at. This is a real life situation. How are we going to deal with it? Like, this is something we need to take the blinders off and look at it dead in the eye and say this shit has to fucking stop. So I would say, pardon my French, but I'm really fired up over this. You hear stories, you hear whispers, you hear rumors. To be put in a situation where you're scared and you're nervous, like I was with my best friend Carrie, is uncalled for. A lot of people, as you know, I do paranormal trip and Bree. I'm known for going into locations completely solo. I go in, I do remotely paranormal for a couple hours, and I spend the night by myself. The last thing I need to worry about is anybody associated with the damn property. I've had outside people I've had to worry about, but worrying about a location owner or a volunteer has never, ever crossed my mind. And I think that that's something where these predators are honestly taking advantage of the situation is in the paranormal. We've got that false sense of security. You think you're going to a location for somebody to own a location, for somebody to bring people in. You automatically assume the person, one, that owns it is safe because all these other people are going to it. 2, you're thinking the people they've got there, they've probably done background checks on, so they've got to be safe and reliable. It doesn't cross your mind until you're put in a situation where you go, holy shit. So my best friend came in to visit, and we were supposed to go actually to the old Blackford County Jail. It was arranged earlier in the day, should have been put on the schedule. We drive over an hour and a half, and with the construction and the weather, it took a while to get there. Pull up, like we're pulling into town, and we get the message, from Bob, hey, somebody booked it. And I'm thinking to myself, this is really odd. He talked to Nick, he talked to me. Why was this not put on the Trello? But okay. And Carrie's like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, we're going to sit our asses outside this jail and we're going to wait for Bob to come out. We're going to figure out what the hell we're going to do next. Cause like, this is kind of bullshit. So Bob comes out and I'm like, so what is available? Like, where can we go? You were kind enough to say we could come here. We drive all the way to get here and now we can't get in. So is there any options available to us? And he's like, oh yeah, I can get you in a center church. Pulls it up on the schedule. Yep, it's clear. Nobody's there. You can get right in. Gives me the code. 20 minutes down the road, not an issue. Carrie and I get in and we take like the first hour walking through because bad storms were coming through. And to do an investigation, any investigator knows you want to know your environment, especially when there's weather going on. You want to make sure that you can, distinguish what is shaking in the wind, what's weather related, what's traffic related, what's old building settling related. And, so we do our walkthrough. We're actually standing in the back of the sanctuary. I've already done my TikTok video. I'm supposed to be going live. And we're listening to like at this point, we're actually having spirit interaction. We've got stuff moving. We're listening to what sounds like a man walking up and down the basement steps. Now, if you've never been to Center Church, you walk in directly off to your right. There's a doorway with stairs that go down to the basement. Now, the basement was flooded, so we couldn't really do anything down there. Directly off to your left is a small closet area. Probably would have been like coat rack area or like a small like secretary office. You go up like 5 or 6 steps and there's the doors for the sanctuary. She's in the very back pew on the left walking in. I'm on the very back pew on the right walking in. And we're talking. I'm got my phone out. I've got my rig ready. I'm getting ready to go hit live and there's knocking on the door. We're looking at each other and she's like, "Were you expecting?" No, I'm not expecting anything. Like, what the hell? Like, it's going on 11 o'clock at night. Now, before all this happened, like as we're standing there listening to it, I'm watching a truck drive down the road. Like, and it's going at a pretty decent pace. And we hear brakes get hit. And she's like, "That's weird." And I'm looking out, there's a window. I'm able to see just a little bit out of window, and I see this pickup truck in the road slamming on its brakes. And I watch the reverse lights kick on. And I'm like, well, maybe it's somebody pulling a UE because I'd seen somebody else doing it before. Not a big deal. Maybe they're supposed to turn down the road that's right on the other side of the church. Next thing you know, there's the knocking on the door. Carrie's in law enforcement. So is her husband. And what people need to understand is it's not that Carrie's only been doing this for a couple years. She's just a few years out from retirement. So Carrie goes into like law enforcement mode. She goes down to the door. She's firing questions. And we hear, "This is Rich. This is my property." Now, I'm standing there and I'm thinking in my head, Rich, I've only ever seen Dan. Like, not even a handful of times, very few, in fact. And I'm like, Rich. Like, I know this name. And I'm like, son of a bitch, Dan and Rich, this is the brother. So like, I'm looking at Carrie, she's firing off, like you're interrupting an investigation, da 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 da. And I'm like, I think this is the owner. So I started asking a couple questions to verify that this is Dan's brother. And I'm like, go ahead and unlock the door. Let's just see if I can at least get visual on him. She opens the door. He pops his head in. And, Rich is the spitting image of Dan. He looks to be a little bit taller from my perspective, standing at the top of the stairs. He is broader, more meat on his bones. And I'm like, yep, and he's got hair like Nick, he's got the buzz cut going on. And I'm like, yeah, there's no denying, like that's got to be Rich. I've never met him, but if that was Rich, yeah. And I'm like, she's looking at me and I'm shaking my head like, yeah, that's him. So he comes in and he's making comments about, I was driving by, noticed the lights were on, a car's in the parking lot. And at that point I interject and I'm like, yeah, because the parking lot was really flooded. So we had to back up close to the walk. And I'm like, yeah, I think we're in the grass and I apologize, but the parking lot's really flooded. And he's like, not a problem. I would have done the same thing. And he's just being really weird. Like he's like, I'm getting sick to my stomach. I'm not feeling very well about the situation. Now Nick's home with the flu and over an hour drive away with the weather and everything. So I know I can't call Nick. I'm new to the state. Don't really know many people close by except for Bob. So I've already got my phone out, supposed to go live. I go right out of TikTok to message Bob like, hey, Rich is here. Like I'm reaching out to the closest person I can think of. I could have gone live on TikTok, but at that moment, I felt like I needed an actual person to be talking to. Like he knows Rich. He would know how to handle the situation. He volunteers for him, for crying out loud. So I didn't see a need to actually hit live on my TikTok. Carrie starts talking to him and he's looking at Carrie, and Carrie's got Under Armour joggers on. You know, they're tied at the ankle. They're like sweatpants, but not. They're more form fitting. He's looking her up and down from the feet, goes up to the crotch, and his eyes linger. Like, it's not one of those, like, you're doing the quick up and down trying to see somebody, you know, like size them up. Like, he's like looking at her, and he stops at the crotch. His eyes make their way up. They linger on the chest, goes up to her face, and he keeps doing this. And I'm watching him. I'm watching her. I'm watching her get more defensive. Like, her training's kicking in. I can tell by the way her body's tensing. And I'm like, and you know, like, shit. Bob responds back, "Oh, that's odd." Now, I've got all the messages still between Bob and myself. I talked to him the whole time that Rich was there, which was close to 45 minutes. I mean, I would think I was over an hour late when I said I'd be going live. And he, you know, and you know, what are you guys doing here? It's not on the calendar. Looking her up and down. I'm trying to quick react with messaging Bob and trying not to be disrespectful at the same time, because I haven't met this man before. He is an older gentleman. I don't know if he's going to look at me and be like, "Why are you texting? You're being rude. I'm trying to talk to you." So I'm trying to be like inconspicuous as I'm doing this. And, you know, I explain I'm with OWPS. You know, my boyfriend, you know, runs it. Bob is a member of the group. We were supposed to be at the jail. He was able to slide us into here tonight. I hope that's not an issue. Sorry, Bob's not here. He had to run back home. Got an emergency text. You know, I'm trying to cover all the bases. You know, I'm saying all the stuff Bob's telling me to say. And he looks at my sweatshirt. Now I've got my hoodie on that says the parent, it's got my new logo on it, and the logo is right across, unfortunately, being a female, right there on your boobs. And he's looking at it and he's like, "Oh, is that your logo?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this just dropped." And he's like, "Can I get a picture?" Well, it's an owner. And I'm like, now I'm putting even more inappropriate. Like, I'm like, ooh. But let me back up. Before he even asked about my logo, he's sizing Carrie up, and he makes a comment about her license plate. Now, her license plate is a joke. With her being law enforcement, her husband being law enforcement, her license plate is 10-9. If nobody knows what that is, it's what, like, dispatch, you would say to dispatch, or dispatch would say to you, and it means, "Can you repeat that, please?" So it's kind of a joke. If her license plate ever got called in 10-9, like, it would just be going back and forth, like 10-9, 10-9. So anyways, you know, he makes the comment. She says, "I'm law enforcement," and he's still looking her up. And I notice he's really looking, like, at her joggers around the crotch, looking. And I notice now he's going pocket to pocket with his eyes. And I'm like, what the hell is this man doing? And he goes, "So, are you packing?" I'm sorry, but what the fuck? Okay, I understand you're a property owner. Who fucking asked that? I know I'm not gonna go to Wildwood and Zach walk in and be like, "Yo, Bree, you packing tonight?" Zach's gonna be like, "Hey, Bree, here's the phone numbers." I've been there plenty of times, but he's still gonna make sure, "Here, you've got your contact information. If anything happens, call these people. I'm making sure everything's locked up. We're good to go. I'll see you later." He ain't gonna hang around. I can go to Hinsdale. Dan would do the same thing. "Here's your stuff. You're good to go. I'm out." Any other location, I can name so many locations I've been to. Property owners are not going to be like, "Are you packing?" And she's like, "No, I didn't know what it would be like, carrying across state lines." Yeah.
So we got an answer for that, and that was his way. 'Cause they're both a little awkward, but that was his way of cracking a joke or breaking, like, the silence communication or something.
Right.
That's what we were told.
But no, okay, I'm sorry. Like, let's just stop the story there because, in my mind, any property owner, if you're worried about your property being broken into, people not on the calendar, are you supposed to be here? Who the hell are you? I'm going to use the code to my building to get in the fucking door. I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, it's just the two of you? Do you have anybody else in the building I need to be aware about? Is anybody downstairs that's going to be coming up I need to be concerned about? No? Okay. Who got you into my building? Establish the facts. Okay. I apologize. I drove by. This is what I saw. Here's the information. Did you sign your waivers? Where'd you leave your waivers at? Oh, we weren't asked about waivers, by the way. Yeah, there's a nice little legal tidbit for you, Dan. So, brother dropped the ball on that one, didn't he?
Hold on, babe. The other half of the duo was coming on. Jeff, do you have any comments on what she's talking about?
No, it just
I'm not even done.
I know it's the company they keep. It's almost like one person falls out and another one falls in, just like Ted. Ted was pretty freaking close to being a Tim, all right? And everybody thinks he's a sweet old man. Well, not with the messages I've seen that people, he's got to understand that if he messages somebody in Messenger, they can forward those messages off to somebody else, or they can snap a picture of them. And it's just like, so when one falls out, it just seems like they just keep getting replaced. So it was surprising that Rich is doing this, but again, it doesn't surprise me. So I want to hear the rest of the story.
We're going to continue with this story here, and when Carrie's ready to chime in as well.
All
But
right.
again, it's like didn't handle the situation properly.
No.
With my experience with the bell, I would have to go back, in the building and this or that. I would always announce myself, this or that. Even if I was not there all night, I did not give the tour or this or that. If I had to go back in the building, one, I didn't want to scare the shit out of them. But two, it's the proper thing to do. Hey, I'm here. It's Nick, blah, blah, blah. I'll be out of your hair in just 5 seconds. I apologize. The building is yours, and then I would do what I have to do and get the fuck out because they paid to have the building. It's a short 5-minute conversation, not 45 minutes. So
that's ridiculous. I mean,
can you hear us, Carrie?
Hi, Gary.
Gary. Gary, you're scary.
Gary. You're here.
She does not hear us.
Okay. So Carrie's still working on that. All right. So guys, everyone watching, this is the beautiful Carrie that I was with that night who is in law enforcement. She's tiny, but she's a force to be reckoned with, let me tell you. Oh, she'd take about all of you guys out, no offense. But and I'm talking about guys in the chat too, because I see I've been peeking and I'm watching this chat. This chat's lit right now as I'm not even done with what happened. So she says, no, I don't have it. And he's like, well, do you have anything to protect yourselves? Messaging Bob. And he notices my hoodie with my logo and, can I have your picture? And I'm just like, I've had other owners ask for my picture. I didn't want to be rude. I honestly didn't know what to say except for, I was like, yes, I mean, and shame on me, but I'm willing to own that. And I'm willing to come forward with all this information, so I'm willing to own that little slip on my own. I'm thinking though, when he says, can I get your picture? Like he is going to, you're there, I'm here. You know what this guy does? Can I get your picture? Like he walks up the stairs and zooms, like he gets all up on me. I'm standing like a deer in headlights. Carrie realizes what's going on. She's running up the stairs after, trying to redirect. Oh, but we got stickers. We got stickers. We got stickers. Do you want a sticker? Do you want a sticker? I can give you a sticker. Like, and he's like, yeah, I'll take a sticker too. Well, at this point, he's already got all the pictures zoomed in of my chest. And so she redirects him to the stickers. He starts talking, going back to her license plate, starts dropping codes. She's like, he's like, does anybody else have these stickers? She's like, no, these are the brand new stickers. They just dropped. And he, she goes, what's your badge number? Well, he pops up, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was like 526 or 536. And she's like, do you want me to write your badge number? Now, Carrie's smart. She's getting pertinent information of this man in case shit hits the absolute fan. We've got all kinds of identifying markers on him now. It's not just Rich, because I didn't even know the last name. She's now got a badge number associated with him, because he's like, yeah, that was my badge number. Because he had been talking about Blackford County Jail was the first property we bought. And, I used to be the jailer there. Now I'm noticing that he is acting a little off. He's acting a little weird. It's my first time seeing him, but I'm trusting Carrie. If something's really wrong, I know she's been trained, especially because she works in the jail with intaking inmates. She's going to know what she's looking for. She's going to be able to redirect, cut it off. She's going to be able to call it out for what it is.
So Carrie, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so
Are we back on?
No, you're fine.
Fired up. But let's hear from Carrie and her perspective of that night and why her instincts and training had to kick in.
I love that. My instincts and training. Obviously aren't very good with Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
That $1.99 piece of equipment I have here. So,
Inside
in
joke.
all,
Oh, thank God I could swallow that.
do you want me to start from the beginning with just how inappropriate he was, or?
Yeah, I mean, we want to hear your side of what happened and, the culmination of it. I mean, I know Bree's halfway through the story, but I think it's important to let's see your side and what your thoughts were in the whole process, and then we'll finish this
Okay.
out together.
Okay, because I think my side is probably maybe more, I'm not saying it's more relatable, but there's those of us that are in the paranormal field or want to just go investigate for the weekend. We get a location, a lot of times it's out of state, and we don't, like, I know personally when I talk to Bree, she'll name people off and I'll be like, I don't know who you're even talking about. And where I'm from, we don't have groups of people owning multiple properties. So when I hear of like entities or people that own large property or a cluster of properties, names don't mean anything to me. So that's why I'm here to say I know nothing about any of these people. I know nothing about the allegations that went on prior to this. So I would say for people that are traveling, for females, and it can even be for men, you're traveling to a location where you don't know. We're just going on good faith. Where I'm from, it's kind of, we just trust everybody. And this was a whole new thing for me to witness. I just know that it was the last thing I expected was to hear the knock on the door. And I literally, like, the way he answered us, I don't know why you wouldn't answer with, I'm the owner. I know the door code. It's this. I didn't see anybody on the calendar. There's a professional way of handling yourself, not with this. This was extremely, extremely inappropriate. So literally before Bree says it's okay to open the door, I can tell Bree's backing up and she's not comfortable. So yeah, obviously I'm going to switch into a different kind of mode. And I would have done it even if Bree was like comfortable with it, because you just don't know. We're in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Mhm.
Literally.
who's stopping there? So I literally am like a second away from one of my favorite lines is come back with a search warrant. I'm about ready to tell that to him. And Bree's like, you can pop the door. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna pop the door. So pop it, and he's just bizarre. Like, he's really shaky. And I know that what bothers me is I'm hearing sometimes that I don't want to say sometimes, but I'm hearing people make excuses for other, instead of going directly at what the serious accusation is, they are doing the sleight of hand. Oh, look over here. He doesn't drink. I've never seen him drink. If that's what you're taking from it, is that's the serious part? I don't care. I like the drinking, least of my concerns. It's the SA harassment that's happening. I don't care if you're drinking or not. Okay. I can tell you he was very shaky. I can tell you what I know based on unsteady walk, um, slurred speech, but I don't know his baseline. So we'll leave it at that. So um, it just angers me that there's people that want to glob on to that one phrase of him being intoxicated, possibly, instead of the actual issue at hand. And that's ridiculous. Any female that, like, I'm not saying that this gets into another area where I can divert. And I, I think that owners even need to protect themselves from possible male or females coming in to look to. So not only do we need to protect ourselves as people that want to go investigate a place, I think the owner should also, for their safety in this day and age, sad as it is, you should really, because I had no idea. I was there for a whole other event. I actually was supposed to be at the Randolph, and I'm so glad I got canceled because I noticed birds of a feather, and I wouldn't have won. I wouldn't allow my friend, when I found out who was going to be left there uh, for hosting it, um, I would not let my friend.
Another person we need to address, but that'll be another time.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, no, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But no, like, kind of trust your gut. Go with your gut. If somebody gives you ick vibes, then go with that. So that's why I was there, to go to this Randolph thing. Luckily, it was, you know, a disaster, crisis averted, and didn't have to be there for that. So um, now he's in the building. And keep in mind, when Bree says who he is, that means nothing to me. The name means nothing to me. And I don't care if he's the biggest name there is there. Where I come from, we don't know who you are. We don't care who you are. We're there for the location, not because of who you are. So he then, like, starts this weird, like, he's looking at and keep in mind, I have a sweatshirt. I have one of Bree's sweatshirts on that has like a kangaroo pouch. And he's really focused in on like that area and like really looking my legs up and down. I'm like, what in the creepiness are you doing? And now I know that Bree is like on her phone texting, and I'm like, something's not adding up here. So he asked me what kind of pants I was wearing. And I'm like, I don't know, they're just Under Armour. Like, they're just pants. Why? And he's like, oh, I wanted to see if you were carrying. And I'm like, all right, bud. Now we're shifting into a different gear. Because one, why are you wondering that? Because were you expecting me to be there? Did you see that Bree had posted that she was going to be there and you thought you were going to go, like, oh, poof? Because when I asked him, like, oh, are you just down the road and you, like, you know, weren't sure who was there? No, he lives 30 minutes away. You're not just driving by that late at night. Not a chance. You are there for no good. I'm not dumb. Some investigators may go there and not bat an eye at it, and that's how they work their way in. And that's it's just, I don't know. It's a hot button topic for me. I'm trying to keep it together and not say what I want to really say. But
Okay, hold on, Carrie.
yeah.
So, hold on. So, if this person is diabetic, raised blood pressure and all that stuff, do you think it's still safe for him to be driving out 30 minutes
No.
away from his house?
No. And he had horrible shakes.
Oh,
Horrible.
let me
So those
address
are-
something that just came up in the chat. Somebody said there had to be cameras. There were no cameras outside or inside. Before I walk into a location, with me going into so many that I do solo, I always check for cameras out and I always check for cameras in. There was nothing. Sorry, go ahead, Carrie.
No, you're fine, hon. So when you're asking me if I'm carrying, I don't know if you're trying to be like, oh, this is like cop talk kind of thing. Like you're just trying. That was not the case. Not at all. I know what cop talk is. I know what shooting the you know what is. That was not the case. Because normally you'd be like, oh, what do you carry? Like what kind of, we would discuss that. Not, are you carrying? And I understand that some locations don't want you to have a weapon on their property. And I don't know the rules here. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to like show him my hand of like whether I'm carrying or not, because I don't know why he's here. Like 30 minutes away, your hair's all disheveled, you look sloppy, you just the way you carry yourself is extremely unprofessional and professional. And yeah, just kind of like the back of your spidey senses go off. And when I can see that my best friend is uncomfortable, now you're going to get a different side. So there's like the chummy, we're going to be nice. Now this is, how do I, either one, we need to get out, or two, he needs to leave. But it's their property and he had every right. So I understand coming to question if we weren't on the calendar. Gotcha. Totally get it. Check in, let us know, and say, have a good investigation, girls. Bye. If you need something, I'll be here. So none of that. And then he takes a picture he wants a picture of Bree's quote unquote logo, which happens to go across your chest. Because I mean, everything, any shirts any shirts we have, that's where it's probably going to go. So, yeah, he zooms in just right, and he doesn't like just stand back and take a picture of her wearing it. He goes right up to her chest and takes the picture. So I'm like, all right, I'm like, how about we just go get it? I think you were talking about it, Brie. I just said, like, let's go get it. I'm literally trying to redirect him using any type of verbal tactic I have to redirect him, but still maintain like a little bit of courtesy. And because I don't know his personality, and I don't know and at this point, Brie and I haven't talked, and I'm like, well, I don't want to, if Brie's friends with him, I don't want to upset her by being rude, which is what I wanted to be. And because I don't know any of these people. And he's been up, we do the sticker thing, and then it's like, then he starts talking about some strange, he's like, I ask him, I'm like, is there any hot spots in the building? Like, what should we look for? I want to know, like, give me the deets.
Right.
And
Redirecting the conversations.
Exactly. And I'm like, and important topics that I would want to know, like, what's like, where's a hospital? What's your experiences here? This is your building, right? Okay, wonderful. He goes, oh, I don't know much about this one. I'm like, okay. So then I think I'm redirecting. Somehow that leads to some guy, I have no idea about any of this stuff, was naked and posing on top of the headstones. that he goes, there's a cemetery in the back. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's been pouring rain and even those roads were flooded. Like it was terrible. So we're like, cemetery's out anyways. But he felt the need to continue it with some guy had been back there naked on the headstones. Like it didn't pertain to anything. Like we didn't need to know that. And I'm like, oh, you're throwing the feelers out. That's okay. Now I'm like, now it's time for somebody's going to go. And then I'm like, how about this? I'm going to go out to my car, get some equipment. You're going to go out to your car and leave. And that way we can lock the door behind us and we know we're safe. So I don't like seeing my friend uncomfortable. No woman should ever, or man, should ever have to feel uncomfortable because of another person's what they want to bring into the discussion. That's of sexual nature. Should not be at any of these.
And I want to make
Like,
a comment. This happened
Yeah.
approximately a month ago?
April 11th.
April 11th.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was beginning of April.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was April 11th going into the 12th.
And keep in mind, I don't know who any of these people are. I only through Bree have learned who and have met actually like really incredible people. It just is terrible that this person has truly like I honestly think you should. This is a whole new light. That's why I'm so proud of everybody that's taking notice to this and bringing it to the forefront. So I want to say, like, property owners, protect yourselves too, because there could be people out there making false accusations. I'm not saying that everybody's accusations are 100%. I know there's retaliatory things that go on. I know but I had no clue that out in your guys' neck of the woods, that was even like, it was so far from, and then the things that I've heard since about various things is just horrid. Like,
So on a scale of 0 to 10, ladies, creep factor, what was it?
There's not enough zeros.
I was like, can we do 12?
I mean, for me, there's not
Can I
enough
get to 11?
zeros.
So
Like I was literally backing down the aisle at one point, talking to Bob because Bob's like, "Has he left yet?" And I'm like, "No, he's real chatty. I'm really nervous. He won't stop." Well, do I need to come out there? I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm panicked at one point. I don't know. Like you're 20 minutes away. You freaking volunteer for the asshole. I'm telling you, I'm nervous. I'm on the damn team with you. Get your ass, I shouldn't have to say, come out, like.
And that's what bothers me is that these accusations apparently have been swirling around prior to. And that's why I say, like, I came there to go to Randolph. And now I find out about like the things that go on at Randolph, and I was supposed to be in this building overnight with some creep. Like, no, not a chance. Like, this needs to be brought to light. Location where people are not safe needs to be brought to light. And they need to be held accountable. And ladies or men, like, go, like, if something happens that makes you uncomfortable, I get you feel like maybe like you shouldn't say anything to the police, but at least get it on record. Like, the police may just be like, there's nothing we can do. And they're like, with Bree and I, there's like, it's his building. We're there. There's no physical touching. There's maybe an intimidation factor.
That's a good point, Carrie. Like, nothing, thank God for you, little spider monkey. It didn't get to that point. Who knows if it would have? The problem is,
I feel bad for him if it would have.
Didn't know who he was, how he acts, this or that. He acted unprofessional. We asked for an apology. We didn't get it. You ladies deserve it. And especially from him, like, hey, you know what? I was not feeling right that night. I felt I shouldn't I shouldn't have fucking done it. But to just sit back and be like, it's not worth it. Nothing happened. I wasn't drinking, so none of that else shit matters. No. This is what I'm talking about. How many other ladies has this happened to, but it actually went to the next step?
That's what worries me. Sorry, Sean.
Oh,
I
no,
think I cut Sean off. I'm sorry.
You can cut me off.
Oh,
he was
sorry.
muted.
And
Like-
I was gonna say that some people on YouTube are having difficulty hearing Nick because he's a little far away from the microphone. But
Whoa.
He's got a loud
There's a new
voice. I
one.
don't know how y'all could be like missing him. I mean, like the whole situation was completely fucked up, in my opinion. It's I saw Addie ask in the chat. I'm trying to find it again. Like Addie made a comment about how she didn't know if there'd be cameras, and that's how they would know that we were there. A couple other people made comments about the cameras, and it's like, do I post where I go? Yes, I do post, and you know what? Learning lesson, and I'm hoping that by speaking out, more people can learn from what I never knew to be a mistake as a single female. I mean, I love what I do with Remotely Paranormal, but I'm going to be honest. If I'm not able to have somebody be with me on location now, like even if they're sitting in the car, while I'm in the house or I'm in the building, whatever it may be, I don't know how Remotely Paranormal is going to go now. Nick and I have been having some pretty decent conversations about it. The fact that, people want to sit here and make excuses. I do want to piggyback on this, for somebody, but he was a cop. Okay. Every fucking cop in Boston's laughing their asses off at you. So shut up and sit the fuck down, for one. I mean, if this does not piss you off, that's a you problem. Like, you need to start checking yourself. I mean, we all have females in our lives. We all have males. I mean, this isn't just a female issue. This is a male issue. This isn't just an owner issue. This is an investigator issue. This is an across the board fucking issue. Take paranormal out of it. In all honesty, in my personal opinion, it's, what pisses me off though is that, like you said, Carrie, where you're at, we go by blind faith. I do a lot of blind faith because I'm new in the community, and I've been very lucky. Everybody, minus this occasion, has welcomed me with open arms, has been more than loving and gracious with me, made me feel safe, has gone above and beyond when I'm at their locations to make sure that, anything I need is taken care of. Not that I'm like a diva, but I've got the phone numbers. I know where the exits are. This church, there wasn't an exit for us to get to. The door in the very back of the church is fucking nailed shut. Because the bathroom's put in there behind it. There's no way to get to an exit. I would have had to bust out a damn window and dive out of it. Yeah. I mean, I would have Bruce Willis my ass out of a window. I don't care if I had to.
I would have yeeted you out if you needed it, but
I would have been grabbing you, and we would have been you.
So yeah, I want to ask this, Jeff. How many Jeff, you there?
Yeah.
Sorry,
How many ladies have you talked to, or even yourself gone to locations and thought to yourself, man, this guy or this person is creepy as hell. They should, they need to be checked or something.
How many places have I gone to? Really none. But that's probably because I'm a man. They don't act inappropriately around me. I've been doing this for so freaking long. I mean, all the places I go to, generally, I've known of those places. They know who I am. But I don't travel off the beaten path a whole lot. And normally, if I do, it's per invite. And normally, it's an owner that I know. I've just never been to this place or a group that frequents a place. I don't really hear about a lot of problems. Um, but just like the Stimson, hospital up there, once that got thrown in the mix, I've heard, I mean, there's been 2 or 3 people commenting now about it. And so how would I know unless, I mean, the subject was brought up. Um, I mean, and whether somebody from there is watching it now or not, I got somebody that's going there in a couple weeks. And I told him, I said, if you don't go on the tour with your wife, let her video it. Let's see what this tour is all about. Let's see if it creeps us out.
I don't- You mean creep it by like the person is creepy or the location
The
is creepy?
the person is
Okay.
totally inappropriate because he takes you through museum things that were used to do surgeries or operations on women. But he goes into it graphically about what this tool, how it's used on women. I mean, he goes way beyond
Because we couldn't just say
anything.
Google this tool if you want to know what it does.
You know,
I don't need.
he's and it's been creeping these it's groups of women with no
See,
men.
sorry, I totally jumped. I'm gonna jump in, Jeff. I'm
Go,
totally I'm an interrupter, and I apologize because I have
no, go for it.
shiny ball syndrome.
Go
So,
for it.
um, to bring to the fact that I'm where I'm at, I have no idea what this location is that you're talking about. I
Right?
don't have a. We've never heard of it, and if it
Yep.
gets popular, and I decide to come there with some of my girlfriends, I might not have my bestie there to be like, hey, this place isn't, like it needs to be out in the public more. I think I know there's reasons why females aren't comfortable, various reasons, understandably.
It,
But the only way we can help somebody, male or female, I hope it helps at least just like Bria said, like I hope it helps just like one of them. If it helps one person, because I want to point out the one thing, um, I can tell you guys that like we say take a camera and record, start your recorder, start that. But what don't some people don't understand is that like predators, I'm not accusing any certain property owners, but predators, even if you're doing maybe a group tour with people you don't know, but predators love the thrill of the chase and if even if you're recording, you still are not safe. I know that sounds terrible, but it's almost the thrill of it, of them knowing that you may be recording is a little bit extra for them. And it's sad that we have to think like that, but you're not safe just because you're recording. So while you will have documentation of it, wonderful. And you can take that to the police, perfect. They love that. Instead of it being a he said, she said, or, or I want a she said, she said,
He said,
she said, she said. It's great to have it documented, but keep your wits about you. Trust your gut. And if something doesn't feel right, then you need to either remove yourself from that location, avoid it, trust your gut, look after your friends, because just because it's recording doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, that they're not going to try something, because it's the thrill of the chase for some predators or people that think they're above anything.
right, right.
and that's a perfect leadway to what a topic that Jeff wants to talk about tonight. And this is something that this goes beyond locations and just going there privately, and how predators do like the thrill of the chase. Jeff has brought up about conventions, big public places. So I'm going to let Jeff talk about that a little bit and what we need to think about and be prepared for, even in these conventions.
Well, just give you an example. Tim Murphy, he may not be part of RCI anymore, but he frequents all the Paracons. He wanders around seeing how many women he can try to pick up. He approaches them all. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what you think of him. I mean, he wears a shirt that says you're fucked on it. I mean, that's screwed up in itself. But like, I was just so I'm seeing a Paracon that's getting posted, and I'm like, and so I see Zappos. I'm like, okay, this might be a pretty cool Paracon, and I blow the picture up so I can see who the other people are because it's on my phone. I need to blow it up to see where it's at, and like there's right there is a guy that I know is a sexual predator, and he's listed as a celebrity. And he's the guy that told me if I put anything down on writing on him, he would sue me to hell and back. And people are paying to go see this guy. And then, I go to Gettysburg and I see another guy he was booted out of a TV series from the get-go. He wasn't even allowed to film because of rumors of him raping some chick in a hotel room at a Paracon. And then you go, and I'm at another Paracon, and there's another guy that was accused of taking a girl home from a Paracon, and he dropped out of the mix for a year. And these guys are afraid to shake my hands. They know I know. I mean, the one guy even asked me if I was following him, at the Paracon. They're all over the place. And just because they're a celebrity doesn't, mean that they're safe to be around. And the sad part about it is, I mean, people worship these people.
Mhm.
That's what allows them to be predators. I mean, it drives me crazy. It
And
does.
then I think they know that, and they use their platform being
Yep.
as big as they are because
Yeah.
who's going to want to come out against that person?
Right. Right. And then like the one guy, I mean, I mean, his wife had to jump into the phone conversation to cool things down. But the things that were coming out of his mouth, it just sounded like I was talking to the devil himself. And then he's like, you put anything down in writing on me and I will sue you to hell and back. I guarantee you I'll sue you to hell and back. And I'm like, damn, dude. And I know of one girl that he slapped in the face because she wouldn't take him home. She's one of my good friends. But how are you supposed to like put the word out about these people? There is no platform to even anonymously, give people a heads up. If you had a platform to say, do you recommend me hanging out with this person? Has anybody ever said anything? And I understand people might say bad things about a good person because maybe they're mad at him or got a grudge against him or whatever. But if you get consistent, like 15 people that don't even know each other have said the exact same thing, well, doesn't that ring a bell? But there's no place to report this stuff to. There's no place to report what happens at these locations, like over in Indiana. There's no place to even just say, okay, this dude might be okay up there in Michigan at that Stimson hospital. He's just creepy,
Right.
He means no bad will to anybody, but there's nothing out there to give you a heads up. I get people all the time. Because I've been in this paranormal field for so long, they ask me about places. I cringe when they go somewhere that I don't know about, especially one I haven't heard about. So this platform, there has to be a platform. I mean, it sort of
100%.
sucks.
Oh,
It
yeah.
sort of sucks that we have to go that route. I mean, I remember just being excited to go new places, experience new stuff. And now it's like, well, what's this place about before I go there? Do I want to give them my money? Is it safe? I can't recommend it to anybody because shit. I mean, I don't want to send somebody there and something happen to them. So I don't know. But how did that end with Rich? How did you guys actually get him out of there?
Is that his
Well,
name?
Yeah,
Is
that
Rich?
was Rich. So
Yeah.
like,
That's the thing. Like, I don't know names. I don't care if you're the biggest name. I don't like if you're nice.
she's
You're
not a
nice.
name
If
person
you're
at all. She's always like, "Who's this person?" Like,
yeah, know.
She actually asked me about Adam Kimmel because he was like, he looked at a couple of her TikToks. She was like, "Do you know him?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Dude, he owns like Madison Seminary and like Fairfield. Like, that's really cool that he was checking your stuff out. That's awesome."
I just
But
assumed it came across. He was forced probably to watch my horrible, my horrible templates.
but like when she's talking to him, she gets him diverted with the sticker. And
Oh, you want to know how I got him out of there?
yeah, so
Yeah.
like he's like, she wants to put his badge number on there, and he's like, "No, I want 001 since I'm the very first person to have this sticker." We're like, okay, so he starts, she starts asking about the location. He starts telling her about Randolph. Then he's like, she's like, "Well, what about this place?" And he's like, "Stay away from the cemetery." A person who used to work for us got, he got into a lot of trouble for doing a lot of sexual stuff and nude stuff, like posing on the headstones and on the grave sites. And, we ended up having to let him go.
Which is this the same person
But-
that
but
I kind of
wait.
keep?
Wasn't he let go for stealing?
That's what,
Oh, truth bomb just fucking dropped.
Bree, the post that they put out said that he was, resigning, going off to do other things, and we wish him well for all the service he provided for us. And that post was a total lie. They didn't tell you why he left.
But why are you going to wish somebody well who is
They thanked him
caught
for
doing
they
sexual
thanked they thanked him
inappropriate
for
acts?
yes, they thanked him for his service. And like I
Thank you
said
for
in my
sexually
live,
assaulting our clients. We appreciate it. Come again, sir.
yeah, I said, I wouldn't have been thanking him.
I
That's
Is this
mean,
the
are
same-
you
last thing I
fucking
would have done.
kidding me?
Wait, so
So-
this is the same? Is this the same?
That's
Is
the
this
guy that he was telling us about. Yeah. They thanked
Is
him
this
for
the-
his service. They thanked him for sexually assaulting their clientele. Are you fucking kidding me?
no, it made a PC statement is what they did.
I don't care.
they did a
That's-
CY? They did a CYA. Is this that Tim person?
Yes,
Yep.
Am I connecting dots here now? Like,
Yeah.
yes.
Puzzles.
Yes.
Yep. You got the puzzles.
wow. Well, as I said, birds of a feather. And they knew long before somebody spoke out probably what he was doing. And I'm sorry if you keep somebody around that does that, you're just as guilty as they are.
That's what I've been saying
And-
all along.
There's been comments that, I mean, they're kind of odd fellows and whatever, but they've been successful business people. It was able for them to buy these properties and this or that, whatever. There's been rumors that like maybe they're a little, not quite there a little bit. And fine, I'm not sitting here gonna like bash you for it or anything. I mean, that's just you. But if that's the case, and wouldn't you have a staff member that can clearly do PC, social media stuff, do stuff like that, like take over for you so you don't get into these situations?
Or hear me out. Maybe, and I just interrupted Ian, sorry. Maybe don't show up to those locations yourself if you're awkward and put out there, which to me seem more like feelers. Like, hey, how are Bree and her friend going to react to my saying that this guy was in the back doing this? Are they cool with it? Are they going to be like, that's so cool? That's like the, or, are they going to be like, not cool? That's inappropriate. Like, that's all I can keep coming back to. Like, why did we discuss this whole weird naked on the headstones thing?
Yeah,
And now
that did
that I find
not.
out it's him.
Yeah, that did not need to be brought up. I remember he
No.
he starts mentioning it, and I'm looking at you, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, he needs the GTFO. Like, this just hit a whole, like, okay, as if it wasn't bad, him eyeing you up and down, like, your ass was sitting on a silver platter and making comments about packing and do we have anything to protect ourselves with? And then he took a picture of my chest.
Then he starts spitting out
Yeah.
10 codes. He starts
Yeah.
spitting out 10 codes at me that are 10 codes for one is for a domestic assault. The next one is for a fight. So I throw back at him 10 codes for public intox and OWI. And then I
Shut
believe
up pretty quick.
that's when I'm like, how about this? I'm going to go out to my car. I'm going
Mhm.
to get my, my stuff. You're going to go out to your car. Bye-bye. I'm going to go inside and lock the door.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it wasn't a
it's-
nice tone, I guess, that I took. I don't
you
think.
were very authoritative. I was actually quite impressed. And like at this point, like I'm bouncing around because I'm losing the Wi-Fi signal off the jetpack with the storm going through. But what was weird was a new Wi-Fi showed up. And I was like, what Wi-Fi is this? Because the only Wi-Fi, they don't have Wi-Fi there. The only Wi-Fi that should have been showing up is the jetpack. And like it was weird all the way around, and then when I'm messaging with Bob and I'm like, Carrie's walking him out, and he's like, okay, you guys are fine, and I'm like, yeah. And jokes were made inappropriately about not being able to talk his way out of a DUI, on his end. And it's like, that leads me to believe that there is a drinking issue, especially because you're like, oh yeah, he was by his mannerisms, he was intoxicated. And knowing your term of service and what you do with your position, I'm going to trust you. I'm not going to question you. Now, could it, there be hypothetical other issues? Yeah. But and for the people that want to clap back in the back and say, he doesn't drink. Okay. I come from a family of closet alcoholics. I'm going to tell you, many of them didn't drink in public. They drank
You
at
wouldn't
home.
know.
And look at it this way. How many people do you work with, do you associate with on a daily basis? And you're like, oh my God, this is the sweetest person I've ever met. Or, we've all had this person in our life. And the next thing you know, they're arrested because they've been beating the shit out of their spouse for the past couple years. Or they've got child porn that was found and their spouse freaking alerted. You can't always say what you see, and because they're a cop or they were a jailer or they were this or they were that, regardless of what it is, you can't make that false assumption. I mean, I'm not saying we need to walk around in a bubble scared of everybody, but it's like you can't I mean, as much as we want to trust the people that we are around, unless you've known that person for a very long time, you've been with them outside of the situation you're involved in, that you associate with them, like work. I mean, I'm talking like, you guys, you visit each other, you've spent time in their house, like you've come to our home, how Nick and I are on a personal level. You honestly don't know that person unless the relationship goes beyond the four walls. And I'm not talking like you have a company dinner either, or, everybody met for drinks, once a week outside, but even if they were just sitting there drinking water with no ice, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't have that automatic assumption. I mean, I don't want to scare people into thinking everybody's guilty till proven innocent. But sometimes in a situation like this, not sometimes, especially in a situation like this, the females that have come to his defense, can I tell you, like, I just want to bitch slap them all. I'm gonna throw down. But it's like, it's so frustrating because it's like, you weren't there, just as much as I'm not in anybody else's shoes that has a story, regardless if it's a property owner or an investigator, or by God, it's their uncle. I'm not there. It's not my place to judge and to try to clap back and make you as a survivor of your situation. I hate the word victim. It gives a nasty mentality that's hard to break, and you feel like you're living in a box.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and clap at people and make them feel less than. I mean, yes, there are going to be people that are going to come up with stories. And, a couple of the people that have reached out to me, I kind of wonder because it's not consistent story. But when you've got a consistent story and you've got somebody who, what do I have to gain? In all honesty, I'm risking everything right now. I mean, granted, this is a hill I'm willing to die on to make sure that other women, men, children, the upcoming generation in our community across the board is safe. I will die on this damn hill. If I lose it all today, I don't care.
Bree,
I didn't
Bree.
start this with the intention of it, and I will do whatever I have
Just
to.
a minute, Jeff.
Like it's, but I mean, it's like we seriously can't be clapping back at people. In
Jeff.
all honesty,
Jeff,
Yes.
you need to get your granddaughter over here.
hey, now he's my grandpa.
Or
Bree.
daughter.
Sorry, Dad.
Everybody, Bree, everybody that I've talked to wanted to hear your story, and everybody that I've talked to wants a platform. I don't think you're going to crash and die.
I mean,
Okay.
I say let's go. I mean, let's pick up our swords and let's do what we need to do to make it safe.
And
Because-
if somebody doesn't like it, I mean,
What's
I
wrong
question
with
them.
that's their problem.
Right.
You know, that if they would have spoke up, last year, a lot of people knew about this stuff over in Indiana. I didn't know you, Nick. You would have known way sooner. But people have known this stuff's been going on for years and nobody's spoken up. And so what happens? Things like this start happening. Platforms have to be made. If you don't like that platform, you should have spoke up 3 years ago about it.
Yep.
It's just one of them things. So yeah, don't worry about what you're saying tonight. I mean, you're telling people what happened, and that's what people need to do. And
And it's not like we got in cahoots and we're like, hey,
Yep.
this is
Yep.
gonna, I have nothing. I have no horse in this race. Absolutely
Yep.
none. Other than
Yeah.
I was there and I would take a bullet for Bree. Like that's my stance on this. Or I will back any female that or try to prevent any female from something like this happening.
well,
Because
if something would have happened to Bree, you would have jumped majorly on the bandwagon like I'm doing now, because the reason I'm in this is because something happened to some of my personal friends over there. Okay, that's what lit the fire underneath me. I've been warning people all these years, but I've never really gone public or done live feeds but enough's enough. And then like Nick was saying, how many other people out there that I don't know have been affected?
Yeah.
It could be hundreds.
well, and what worries me too is we're seeing a huge influx of this TikTok generation. Everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame. And I'm worried about male or female going into location and they're just so excited to be in a cool, famous location.
Yep.
That they're young. They don't know, they don't have any life experiences. And they think everything's, all rainbows and unicorn farts. And like the predator, those that are seeking to just get what they can from them, I guess, it needs I reiterate it. Yes, it needs light shed on it because there's a lot of young people also coming, and I'm old school, been in it a long time, investigating. I don't necessarily understand their whole things that they do, but I just see kids starting this, and they're easy targets.
Yeah. When I was watching the podcast last week and Adam was saying that they've got all these women, they've got accounts. But the thing that that's been hard for them to be able to do something to help these women is that women are scared that they're going to be blacklisted from locations. Women are scared of what it's going to do to their reputation. And I heard that and I was like, you know what, Nick? I'm a survivor of sexual assault, and every sort you can imagine, from molestation to rape to the workplace, inappropriate things being said, being, my ass being grabbed. It just totally inappropriate when I would do my OSHA walkthroughs. And I was like, I'm going to stand up. I might not have the most gruesome story out there, but if me raising my voice and saying, look, I went through some inappropriate stuff that never should have happened. If that can light the candle and kick the damn door down to make other women or men feel more comfortable to say, you know what, I'm not alone, and help them find their voice, then it was wholly important to me,
And I
for
want
us to
I
talk.
want victims to know, like you're still using the term victim, but if you have something like this happen to you, you are not the first one. They didn't just look at you and like all of a sudden, oh, I'm gonna check. You are not the first. You are one of probably many. It's, at least in what I see, there's never just one. There's multiple. So the females, males, you guys aren't alone. Like,
There was a comment made to me that this would be a bad look for Old World Paranormal Society.
what, caring about safety?
Yeah, and it just didn't sit right with me, and I could care less. Care less. You don't want to know why? Do you want to know why that, I've been talking to Jeff Fent since October about this. I had multiple conversations with my team about this. My daughter, my cousin, Bree, is because my mother, my sister are survivors. I know multiple other people. My second ex-wife, she was a survivor. I don't know why I'm laughing at that. Just probably the ex-wife part. And of course Bree here. So look, I mean, it's near and dear to my heart. You're talking about my mom, my sister, stuff like that. So this is not just me being a fucking dickhead and like I'm jumping on the bandwagon to come after some people. No, this is something I've been an advocate for my whole life.
And there's
Now,
not even a wagon yet.
So here's another story, and this was brought up last Tuesday, and I kind of like totally forgot about this. So, and this involves Jeff too. Jeff calls me and he's like, I'm concerned about going to these properties. I said, don't worry, Jeff. I've got a teammate. He's a tour guide. When we go to these places, none of the owners or anything like that are around. We were going to the Randolph on Christmas Eve of last year. It was me, Bree, Bob, Denise, and Alex, her son. And didn't think nothing of it. It was cool. I've never investigated on Christmas Eve. We were going to do Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve at Hinsdale. We were pumped up. We didn't know what to expect. This could be cool as shit. And we walk in, and there's two people standing there. Lydia was standing there, one of the tour guides, and Dan was sitting there. And I'm like thinking, my first thought in my mind was, I literally just talked to Jeff Fent yesterday and told him, don't worry about it. They won't be around. It's just going to be us. And there he was sitting there. So I was like, how the fuck am I going to explain this to Jeff?
True story.
It's a true story, Jeff.
True story.
All right.
And
we both freaked out.
We both looked at each other like, what the fuck? So we're sitting there talking, and I kind of, for some reason, had to reintroduce myself to Dan, even though I've had him up, his brother, their teams numerous times at the Bell Mansion. They were even up there before we even opened it. Like, that was insulting to me, but whatever. He's like, oh yeah, I kind of remember. And he looks at Bree. He's like, well, who are you? And she's like, well, I'm Bree. I'm hashtag be like Bree, paranormal road trip and Bree. And he was like, oh yeah, I've heard of you and this or that. And we're having a conversation, and Lydia's talking. Next thing you know, he goes, can I take a picture? I kind of turned around and looked like, what? Bree's like, yeah, sure. And I kind of looked at Bob Denise. I'm thinking, what the, that's odd. Here's the other kicker, and I didn't know about it till later that night. There was something about her recreating some dance.
The Carlton dance that I posted, the Carlton that I did on TikTok, and I said, somebody was like,
Yeah.
you better recreate this. And I recreated it wearing an ugly sweater, me dancing across, and then I stopped and I walk over the tree and I'm like, Merry Christmas, everyone.
He records it. Doesn't record everybody. Doesn't record me. Doesn't record Lydia. Doesn't record Bob. Doesn't record Denise in the video, but records her. Now, could that have been innocent? I don't know. Is it odd? Fuck yeah, it's a little odd.
According to one of his former employees, he was constantly, whenever there's a photo shoot there with women, without permission, he either shot pictures or took video of it all. That's according to one of his former employees that left because of inappropriate behavior there.
Look, when we go investigate or collab with people or
Yep.
other people that are on big social media platforms and this or that, I come up and ask them, I said, look, we are going to be live streaming.
Yep.
Can we have you on the live stream? Can you be a part of it? I mean, I ask them if they can. If they say no, then I will make sure they're not a part of it, because that's what you're supposed to do. Not just sit there and like you go up to them like, well, can I take a picture with you?
Yep.
Can I take a picture with you, not of you?
Yep.
So
What's the chat saying about all this stuff?
I don't read the chat because it'll just make me mad.
What's the eyes in the sky saying?
All right, Sean, you're tagged in.
Well, I've kind of been following along here. I mean, the discussion is pretty much just repeating what we're saying here.
Well, Wooly is big mad, all in caps. Just so that just came up on my screen.
Is that a person?
Yeah, that's Dave Wolver.
Okay. See, I don't know who anybody is. Sorry. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Again,
just kind of off the topic.
go ahead.
Somebody had a question here, Nick, that you know the answer to. Who owns the Hannah house now? Did he decide not to sell it?
They didn't sell it. It's just switch hands for the convention part and stuff like that.
Okay.
And evidently, Adam says that we're doing airstrikes right now. He's sitting on the hill watching the bombs drop. He goes, another airstrike.
Another airstrike.
Is that the Adam?
That's Adam Kimmel, yeah.
Again, we're talking about incidents that, look, I'm not going to bring a bunch of shit up that I don't have receipts for, and we've had numerous people reach out and they're like, we're just telling you our story. We don't want our names dropped. And I will respect that 1000%. I'm not going to do that, but these ladies right here are giving you a voice, giving you a face, telling you, hey, this is not okay. They're going to stand up with you. And this is not just about what happened at, the Randolph or Center Church. I'm talking about every location. Hell, I don't care if it's in the fucking UK or Canada. If you need somebody to help you speak out, you have, 5 people right here on this screen. Reach out to somebody. We should be having fun. We should be networking, having a cool community, because really, I mean, we focus on the negative, but the paranormal community is so amazing. I mean, I love the community. That's why I'm so passionate about it. And I want everybody to be safe. Same, Jeff feels the same way. He's been doing it since, Moses' time. So he's a huge advocate for it. I mean, he came down with the tablets of the 10 Commandments of the Paranormal.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
there's your new hashtag. Tablets of the Paranormal, people.
Oh.
The 10 Paranormal Commandments. We should make those.
I love you, Jeff. Sorry, buddy. But, this is a serious topic. And, if you're going to do some backlash and nitpick this subject, then please turn around and look at the mirror and say, what is wrong with you? What if that was your sister, your mother, your daughter? You know, what if it was yours? I mean, stop saying, well, this isn't my problem because it hasn't affected me.
It'll end up
Please.
on your doorstep soon enough.
It will. You know, all I'm asking for, and we're going to work on it, and I'm going to get as many people involved. We're going to make this platform.
Yep.
We're going to start vetting people. I highly encourage every single person in the paranormal community, from, you know, location owners to your quote unquote, what you think are paranormal celebrities, whatever, to your very first day in the paranormal. Background checks, vet these people out, sit down and have a conversation with them. If your gut doesn't feel good, don't let them join your team.
Nope.
Don't be associated with them. It's okay to walk away from people. You know, it's okay to say no. You know, hold people accountable. Have the tough conversations. You know, you're talking about real life stuff. You're talking about stuff that shit people can go to prison for. Not just, oh my God, I don't want to miss out on going to these locations because I love these locations. Look, if I can't go to these locations ever again, fine.
I'm pretty
Which
sure
I
we're
don't-
banned at this point. I don't really care though. I'm not gonna
There's
cry.
plenty more. There's
I'm not
plenty
gonna
more
cry.
out there. And why would you want one? Why would you want to go back? I'm not victim. I am not victim blaming here at all. But I can tell you that night, well, one, why would you want to go back? But two, that night, I didn't relax because I knew he had the code to come in. Like, we will do an Estes. You're completely vulnerable during an Estes. Headphones, blindfold. Maybe I may not hear somebody come in and go after Bree while I'm doing Estes. We may be in a different part of the building when somebody comes in and we won't hear it. It's just, it's just, it was eye opening to me. I don't know why I'm surprised, but Jesus, like,
You know, it comes down to reach out to us, let us document your story. If you'd love to come forward, God bless you. If you don't, look, we're not going to look at you any different. I mean, we understand.
Yep.
We understand. Okay. But hopefully your story can help the next person or the next person, you know, avoid those situations. If you are location owners, you need to pull your staff together and be like, look, these are the guidelines, these are the rules. This is meant to protect yourself and your guest, because the roles can be reversed, just like Carrie said. You could do nothing wrong, you know. You could be an absolute gentleman or outstanding person, and somebody might take something the wrong way and accuse you of something.
Yep.
You know that it can happen, so you need to protect yourself as well,
Yeah.
men and women. Okay. You know, we don't live in the fucking Stone Age, people. Come on. You know, this needs to be put to bed. Seriously.
those locations need to be put to bed. That continually that if a location is allowing that
No,
to happen,
I
knowingly,
agree with you. I agree with you.
but that boggles. My mind is just, yeah.
And
Carrie-
they're not willing to come on and talk about it. They're not willing to
Yeah.
defend themselves.
Where's this?
And
Like, I would love to hear the side. Is that him? Is he just an awkward guy? And I shouldn't have the ick feeling from him. Like, I don't know.
I would love nothing more. It don't even have to be my podcast. Come on somebody's podcast, whoever. Make a video, make a public statement. Just say something. Just like, look, I don't know. I mean, come on, man.
even if he just said they fucked up. They fucked up and admit to, I mean, they can't deny all this stuff. But even if they just said, look, we fucked up, you know, this person's gone, this one's gone. this person's not, is not going to be involved with opening up buildings anymore. We're working on it. They won't even do that. I know what it is. Dan doesn't know what else is going to surface. He does not know what's going to surface. I mean, there's a lot more out there that we don't know about. I guarantee you.
I was told from an anonymous source that it wasn't worth it because there was only 40 people watching YouTube last week. Okay, what about the 400 views of the video and the 25,000 people that watch this podcast worldwide?
Yep.
We're talking 40 countries. We just now offered the YouTube part. So yeah, it's going to take a while to get a little platform there. But, I'm a bulldog. Bree's a bulldog. Carrie will mess you up, and then you'll think about it like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And
Facts.
I'm just saying, this is not something we're going to let up. And, you can feel like we're attacking you, whatever. This is just we have receipts.
Mm-hmm.
So we're bringing it to light because you don't want to.
Yeah.
I gave you the option to come on before or after. I was going to ask you the same damn questions before or after. You choose not to. The court of public opinion, that's on you guys. That's on you. And I hope this reaches out to everybody. Please share this out. If you have a story, please come forward. We will, if you want to stay anonymous, we will. And I promise you, we are going to build a platform that is going to help the community. This is not going to be a bashing platform like these debunker groups. This is going to be for the good, So take a minute, guys, go around the room. Let's say some final words on this subject, and we'll get going for tonight. Jeff, what do you got?
I think pretty much everything's been said. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's what I've been talking about. It's very important to me, and my friends are all very important to me, and even the people that I don't know. I mean, I don't want any of this stuff to happen to them. So I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, brother. And if you guys are not following Jeff on social medias, please follow Jeff Fent. He's a huge advocate for this. You'll see his lives and stuff like that. And this man makes probably the best boxes known to man. One of these days, I'll be able to afford one. I'll probably have to get a third job, but I will eventually get one. All right, Bree, what you got?
Okay, so for any females, if you need somebody to talk to, feel free to message me. You can find me on any platform, and know that you've got a safe space. I am going to be pit bulling it out there, rabid junkyard dogging my way through, making sure that there is a platform and your voice is heard. And, I do want to also, I said this before, I want to point it out too, is that it's not always the locations, guys. There's investigators too. If you're not feeling safe with somebody on your team, talk to somebody else. Do your research on your teams. I am a full advocate for background checks if need be. And I think, it sucks if that has to be done. We kind of go, damn, we live in that day and age. Well, it's kind of not the 80s anymore where we tell our kids you can come home when the street lights kick on and you keep your doors unlocked. Unfortunately, it's a sign of the times. Doesn't mean we have to like it, but you got to do what you got to do to keep yourself and your team, who is like, that should be your family, your extended family, protected. Don't feel like you have to apologize if you start enforcing background checks on your team members, if you start enforcing background checks on your volunteers, the people that you hire in for your locations. Don't make any apologies. Hold a firm ground. Set the standard for the community. Don't be scared to set that standard. I know I've sounded harsh tonight, and it's not harsh to be intentionally mean. This holds a very special place in my heart, and know that I will fight for everybody in this. I will my last breath. I'll be making sure that the next generations coming up are protected and that there is a platform to keep people safe.
Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
All right, Carrie.
How do I follow Bree? What, like, why did you make me go after Bree? That's just like,
Well, it's the $1.99 effect.
well, I'm used to it. Yeah, back burner. Also, I'll
Love
give you
you,
the
Carrie.
$1.99. I'll give you the $1.99 version. Um, what I would say is the one thing, like, I agree with 100% what everybody's saying. One of the words we kept saying tonight is background checks. And I don't know if people necessarily know how to do like a background check
Oh, that's a good point.
or how
That's a
you
good point.
guys, and I know it's probably different from state to state. So this is going to be my, just because of what I do. I guess I can use that because since Bree pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. Sis handled it beautifully. I know where I'm at. We just put in the state and you go and then you can just put courtsonline.com or even .gov or Google their name even in the state that you're going to be going to. But you can put in your state courts online and then you should be able to do a search and it should bring up everything in that state that person has any legal anything legal actions brought against them. So it won't show you like accusations. This will be like things that have gone through the court system.
Court filed stuff. Yeah.
So yep, anything even civil, criminal, anything like that. I guess that would be my background check advice because I know we kept saying it, but I'm like, I don't know if people really know. I take it for granted, but I hope that helps somebody if they can.
If you need help with it, reach out. We'll help you with that.
Absolutely.
Now, we'll send it over to Sean Coletta's way. And, I know this is something like Sean, myself, my daughter being involved in the paranormal community, Sean, his daughter, Hannah, she's been a part of the paranormal community. She was a big part of the Bell. She's been around this stuff. So, God forbid. I mean, I know majority of us are talking about older women, but, we have younger females that are coming up. God forbid we need to protect these young ladies. So,
Did you
Sean,
refer to us as older women?
shit.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
You should
yeah.
have shut
Save
up
me.
when you had the
Save
chance.
me, Jeff.
Bree handle that when
But yeah, you're
That's all
absolutely
you,
right.
babe.
we're
That's all you.
spry.
I
I'm
fucked up.
spry.
I just fucked up.
Yeah, you did.
My daughter is 13. She was back with us with the Bell. So I mean, she's been doing this with us for a few years at the places that she's able to, and the Randolph County Jail was one of those places where she was able to go, and the youth are the future, and some of them don't know any better, so we have to. I don't know what's the words I'm looking for here.
Look out for them. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. The thing about OWPS specifically, and several other teams that we've worked with, Bump in the Night among those, they're people that I feel completely safe around. I know that when we're going to a location, that everybody's protected. Everybody's protecting each other. We've got this idea in place of something that we want to do to be able to take this topic that we're talking about and make it so much bigger. And if it comes to fruition, like I would like it to, it's going to be a game changer. Like Jeff was saying, there has to be a platform, there has to be something out there, and that's something that we're working on. But when it comes down to it, you have to. the family aspect of what we do is huge. You know, I've got my personal family. My wife somehow has stayed with me for the last 18 years. I don't know.
No idea how she's done that.
No idea. Uh, but shut up, Nick. My my extended family is my OWPS family. My parents and family. I don't have any contact with them, so I look at this from a different perspective. I look at it as looking out for family, and that's what we all have to do. Look at everybody as if they're your blood brother or blood sister, and take the appropriate steps to make sure that everybody is safe. And, I hope that as time goes on here and we continue to develop these ideas that we have, the more stories will come out, more people will come out of the woodwork. And it's the only thing that's going to end up getting things straightened out. And this is just one problem in this world of what we do. And as hard as it is to separate the paranormal from this, you have to, because that's not what it's about. There's a much bigger issue. So,
yeah, I
we're
mean,
gonna make things happen.
other genres,
Yeah.
other small genres like the paranormal, they have the same issues. So
Mhm.
all the way to the top to, big celebrities, to government people, sex trafficking, and, I mean, this is, we just need to do our part,
Yep.
So,
Ooh, I like that.
but what's up?
Adam goes platform. Let's make a show to catch a predator paranormal edition.
Wow.
Oh,
Let's go. Let's go. I'm in on
Imagine
it.
Nick walking in the room. Say, hi, have a seat, please.
Chris Hansen.
My name
slash
is Nick Carboni.
Look, guys,
What?
you might thinking we're personally attacking you. We're just putting down what we're hearing, pulling out receipts, and we're hoping that these people will at least speak about it. And I truly do love everybody in the paranormal. To me, I am all about what's right and what's common sense. And let's just work on that. And let's keep this discussion going. I know we're going to move on next week to a different guest and a different topic, but this topic does not end at 10 p.m. on a Monday night. This is going to keep going. We're going to build this platform, and let's spread the word, and let's help each other, and let's come together like we should, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So, Jeff, I appreciate you taking time coming on here.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you a big ghost hug. Babe,
Big ol' hug.
thanks for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome.
Gary, ghost hug.
Nah, I don't do hugs, bud.
Just
Oh,
take
look,
the damn
and-
hug and deal with it. No, I'm just kidding.
Father Ken joins the conversation as we're getting ready to close things up.
Who does?
Father Ken Torres. You familiar
Father
with him?
Ken, love you, brother.
And once again, I have no clue who these people are. Sorry.
He's
Jesus,
awesome.
Gary, get with the
Just
times.
look him up on Facebook and send him a friend request.
Adam goes here. Oh, it's funny. Adam's like, have a seat. The chat log here isn't mentioning anything about ghosts.
Right.
We can't even get to the ghosts for we got to deal with.
These
We gotta
pictures
deal with-
you messaged are clearly not orbs.
Spread the word, guys. Spread the word. And thank you so much for tuning in tonight on the Old World Paranormal Podcast.
Hashtag orbs aren't real.
Hashtag orbs are real. Hashtag be like Bree. Hashtag be like me. Hashtag go buy a Jeff Fent box.
There you
And,
go.
Ooh, yeah. I want to
Team
wanna hear
Brett.
about Jeff.
RealDemonsAreFake.com.
Well,
Send me
yeah.
llamas.
Make sure you guys, tune in. Most of the time, me and Sean are a bunch of knuckleheads having a good time with the guest. It's not as serious, but sometimes we pull it out. We're complete bulldogs and assholes, and we're gonna let you know about it.
Well, I
You're
appreciate you
always an
guys.
asshole.
I appreciate you guys at least dedicating like an episode to this because it needed to be discussed.
Yep.
And this doesn't end the conversation.
Huh?
No.
I said this doesn't end the conversation either.
No,
Far
the
from it.
conversation does not end tonight. This is just the beginning.
You turn the
So,
light on and it flushes the roaches out. And that's what we say. For
all right, guys. Till next time. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening all around the world. And all the people that tuned in on YouTube. We love you.
Sorry.
see.
Hey Nick, somebody asked how many llamas to extend the podcast.
see, I said llamas.
If I can get 50 llamas in the next 10 minutes,
If I can
you're
get
gonna
a
see
dollar,
me do a
if I can
solo for 5 minutes on the podcast.
if I can get $2 over $1.99,
Oh Lord.
I'll continue.
All right. Till next time, guys. We'll see you.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
YouTube, you're the best. We appreciate you. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.
Jeff said I'm out.
Way past
Jeff
his,
was like, there's
past his bedtime.